Hey, what's up, you guys? So today it is time for our book club series. So I'm really excited. We are going to be talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which was the book for August. If you haven't read it yet and you want to, do not watch through the rest of this video because there are going to be a lot of spoilers. I'm going to be talking in depth about the plot and whatnot. So if you do want to read it, then don't watch until you have finished it. And if you want to participate in the September book club but haven't read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child and want to, then I will leave the September book down below. As for everybody else, just watch until the end, and I will introduce the September books. Anyways, let's just jump right on in to talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because I have a lot to say. Okay, so where to begin? So I'm just gonna go first with the overall, my overall thoughts on the book, and then we'll go a little bit more into detail. So the very first thing that I want to say is, of course, it's a play, so it was written quite differently than the original Harry Potter books, so that was to be expected. And if you don't like to read plays, then the book probably wasn't for you. I don't mind reading through plays, but there was a few things about the writing that bothered me. For example, like every time Scorpius and Albus went back in time, or whenever anybody else did, they used the exact same words to describe it. It talked about time, like slowing down, stopping, thinking a minute, and then firing them back. And that was repeated throughout the entire book. So that kind of bothered me. I know it's a play, but because it was sent out as a book to be read, I think that maybe they should have found new ways to describe what it looked like going back in time. I kind of wish they would have done that because I felt like it was quite repetitive. But now let's talk about what I did really love about the overall sort of plot, and I guess mainly the climax. So I loved how Delphi turned out to be the villain. I thought that was really fascinating and different. I think I'm saying her name right. If I'm not, sorry, but I really thought that was interesting how she kind of tricked everybody into thinking that she was Cedric. I love how she tricked everybody into thinking that she was Cedric's cousin, when in fact she is Voldemort's daughter. How strange. But yeah, I really love that. I wasn't expecting it at all. So now let's move into some of my favorite and least favorite characters, because this was usually what makes the plot and the story. So my absolute favorite character is Scorpius. I think he is so endearing and so sweet, and also just he feels very human. So I really liked him quite a bit. Albus I grew to like. At first I didn't, because to me he felt kind of like a whiny brat. At first, like, oh, poor me, my dad's Harry Potter, and wow, I'll never live up to it. I don't know, like that just kind of bothered me. I understood too, because he was getting picked on, but so is Scorpius, so he wasn't like, oh man, oh poor me, you know? That's not how Scorpius was at all. So to have Albus be like that, I'm just kind of like, come on, stop complaining, you know? Especially because with Scorpius, everyone thought he was the son of Voldemort, and with Albus, he's the son of Harry Potter. Like, whose life is worse, you know what I mean? My least favorite character, actually, of the whole book was Harry Potter himself. I did not like how they wrote him. I know that J.K. Rowling had a part in writing the book, but she didn't write the whole thing. I didn't like how they portrayed Harry. I didn't think that it was an accurate representation, because I think the way he spoke to his son was very unlike what the Harry Potter from the series that we all know and love would have done and said. So it was just really different, because I don't think Harry Potter from, you know, the Harry Potter series would ever say to his son that he wishes he were his son and everything. Not that I'm saying that Harry Potter is perfect. Nobody is. Nobody can be a perfect parent. But I feel like that was almost too cruel for Harry. I understand like the fighting aspect of it. It kind of shows us a new side of Harry Potter, and not this perfect person that maybe was portrayed sometimes in the books. Not that Harry was portrayed perfectly, but you know, he was the hero, so you had a lot more sympathy for him. And I think in this book you were meant to have a lot less sympathy for Harry Potter and more sympathy for Albus. But for me it was kind of the opposite, because I guess like you feel Harry trying so hard to connect to his son, and Albus just gets upset about it because he wants to draw himself so far away from Harry Potter, from like that world and that sort of legend that was created. So I don't know, I felt really bad for Harry, and I didn't like the way he was written. I wish they made him a little kinder, because I think that's his true nature. Now I want to talk about my favorite quote, because it's so sweet. It is actually by Draco Malfoy, who I forgot to mention. I actually really liked him in the series. I felt that they showed a more dynamic side of him, and he became a much more caring person. Like, he was still Draco. He was still very, like, snippy and kind of rude, but you also got to see this sweet side of him that you didn't really get to see in the Harry Potter series. I did like that, but I'm going to go ahead and read my favorite quote that I have in my Kindle here. So, this is by Draco. My father thought he was protecting me most of the time. I think you have to make a choice at a certain point of the man you want to be. And I tell you that at that time, you need a parent or a friend. And if you've learned to hate your parents by then and you have no friends, then you are all alone. And being alone, that's so hard. I was alone, and it sent me to a truly dark place. For a long time, Tom Riddle was also a lonely child. You may not understand that, Harry, but I do, and I think Ginny does too. So I really like this because, again, this is kind of showing Draco's soft side and maybe sort of revealing why he was so mean and harsh in the Harry Potter series, which I think was kind of interesting, because I feel like Draco in Harry Potter was kind of this static, mean character and just sort of frustrating. Like, there was a couple times that his weaknesses showed through, but for the most part he was a strong, kind of just like mean kid. So seeing as an adult him change into this dynamic sort of thing, and you kind of get to understand why he was like that, I think is really cool. There were a few others that I highlighted, but that was definitely my favorite. Moving into some other just like fun things that I really liked is how Ron and Hermione were basically, I guess, soulmates. It doesn't explicitly ever say that, but I think it's really sweet how in every time that there is, Ron and Hermione are together, except for I think one, but even then they kind of feel like they should be together. And I just thought that was really sweet, and kind of made me go, aw, you know? I just really liked that. Another thing I really liked about the book was Snape. I really love that they brought him back, because I feel like you don't get enough of him being a good person and revealing his true purpose, because he kind of dies off at the end, and Harry doesn't really get to talk to him all that much. Like, you get a lot of the reasoning behind what he did, but I feel like with this book you kind of see this like soft side of him. It kind of spoke once again to the dynamic and wonderful character that is Severus Snape. So I really, really, really like that. And kind of finally, I'm going to talk about the conclusion a little bit. So with the conclusion, I really enjoyed it, and I feel like it left in a good place, where they could either choose to continue the story with either another play or book, or it could be just as it is and leave it. So the conclusion was cool. I liked how they didn't kill Delphi, because it kind of taught Albus, you know, humility maybe and humanity. Not that he really needed that, but I think seeing his dad, you know, be this like good guy in front of him kind of made him go, oh, that's right, my dad's not some jerk, he actually cares. And I also thought it was pretty sad how Harry had to watch his parents die all over again. That was like really touching. It was pretty sad, but I'm glad Voldemort is dead, and I'm also glad that they're not really bringing him back in that sense. So that is pretty much all of my feelings surrounding the book. It was a little disjointed, a little all over the place, but That's kind of how I wanted it to be, you know, more of a discussion than a point sort of thing. So, that was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. It was a decently quick read, so I hope you guys like that as well. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get into the next book and discussing a little bit about it. So this next book for September is called The Universe Builders, and it says, okay, so it's The Universe Builders, Bernie and the Putty. And it's by Steve LaBelle. Okay, so I'm going to be reading the description off of Amazon. So apparently this won 16 awards for excellence, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the description real quick. So, meet God School's latest graduate in the humorous award-winning fantasy for young adults. One might think a god with the ability to create universes would have no problems, but that isn't so. Bernie comes from a broken home, lives on the poor side of town, and is plagued by a mischievous, invisible cloud. Against the odds, Bernie lands his dream job and a chance to build his own universe, only to find problems everywhere. Mysterious asteroids, unexplained volcanoes, and shifting continents lead him to suspect sabotage. But who could sabotage his universe? Only another god could do that. It's God versus God and good versus evil. If Bernie fails to outwit his vicious foe, it will cost him everything in this fascinating tale of an unusual young hero on a journey of self-discovery. So I thought that this sounded pretty interesting. Yeah, so it got 4.5 stars on Amazon out of 176 reviews, and it sounds interesting to me. I was looking for kind of another young adult fantasy sort of fiction sort of thing, but also I was interested in it because it's kind of a different story. It seems to have a little bit of a different turn, which I think is interesting. So that being said, that is our book for September. Once again, it's The Universe Builders, Bernie and the Putty by Steve LaBelle. I will have that linked down below. You could either put it on a Kindle, you could read it on a laptop or computer, and I don't know if you could listen to it on Audible. I haven't looked. You may be able to, or you could purchase the book itself. You may be able to find it at other places, but I'm just going to link it to Amazon down below for you guys. So that being said, that is this month's book club overview. So, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, 2 thumbs up, really enjoyed it, and I'm really excited to read The Universe Builders. I think it sounds really interesting, so I hope you guys are too, and I will see you all very, very soon. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I really appreciate it, and if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. It means the world to me. And yeah, with that being said, guys, I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, guys.